In a significant diplomatic shift, the U.S. State Department recently updated its website regarding Taiwan, sparking outrage from Beijing and reigniting tensions that have long simmered between the two powers. The change involved the removal of a statement asserting that U.S. policy does not endorse Taiwanese independence, a move that China has condemned as a serious regression in U.S.-China relations. This incident highlights not only the complex geopolitical landscape surrounding Taiwan but also the delicate balance the U.S. attempts to maintain in its approach to China. The update was characterized by Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Gui Jiaquan as a violation of the One China principle, which asserts that there is only one sovereign state under the name China and that Taiwan, which operates with its own government and military, is a part of it. Gui emphasized that the U.S. must immediately correct this mistake, arguing that the update sends a seriously wrong signal to the separatist forces in Taiwan. This sentiment reflects a broader concern within the Chinese government over perceived American support for Taiwanese autonomy, which they view as a direct threat to their national sovereignty. Taiwan, for its part, welcomed the State Department's revision. The Taiwanese government described the update as indicative of the close and amicable partnership between Taiwan and the United States. This reaction underscores the delicate nature of Taiwan's international positioning as it seeks to engage with global powers while navigating the complexities of its historical relationship with China. The U.S. has historically maintained a policy of strategic ambiguity regarding Taiwan, acknowledging the One China principle while also supporting Taiwan's self-governing status. This latest change in language reflects an evolving stance that could have significant implications for U.S.-China relations and regional stability in the Asia-Pacific. In a parallel development, TikTok has faced scrutiny amidst revelations that it stores some American user data in China, despite previous statements from its CEO Shou Zichu claiming data was held in the U.S. and Singapore. This admission has intensified calls for a complete ban of the app in the United States, with lawmakers expressing concerns over national security. As Jake Denton from the Heritage Foundation noted, the presence of American data in China poses a clear risk, leading to bipartisan support for legislative measures aimed at restricting TikTok's operations. The U.S. government and multiple states have already prohibited the app on government devices, and legislators are pushing for broader measures. Senator Josh Hawley and Representative Ken Buck have introduced bills advocating for a nationwide ban, citing TikTok as a dangerous backdoor for the Chinese Communist Party (CCP). This has raised constitutional questions about freedom of speech and the implications of banning a social media platform, an issue that experts like Tom Romanoff of the Bipartisan Policy Center warn could set a troubling precedent. As these two issues unfold, the intersection of technology and international relations becomes increasingly evident. The shifting narrative around Taiwan and the scrutiny of platforms like TikTok illustrate the intricate ways in which national security concerns, technological influence, and diplomatic relations are intertwined. Looking ahead, the U.S. will need to navigate these challenges carefully, balancing its commitments to Taiwan and addressing security concerns without alienating a major global power like China. The developments in both the State Department's policies and TikTok's operational practices will likely shape the geopolitical landscape in the months and years to come. In a world grappling with economic uncertainty, the Chinese economy is demonstrating resilience and vigor, according to recent statements by Ambassador Xie Feng at the 20th anniversary gala of the China General Chamber of Commerce, USA. The gala, held on February 11, 2025, brought together over 300 business leaders and community representatives, where Xie emphasized that China is navigating through turbulent global economic waters with a steady hand. Ambassador Xie highlighted the substantial consumer activity during the Spring Festival, noting that more than 500 million domestic tourist trips were recorded, alongside record box office revenues exceeding $1.2 billion for the film Ne Zha 2. This surge in consumption, he argued, is not only a sign of domestic vitality but also contributes positively to the global economy. He pointed out that American products like almonds and blood glucose monitors saw significant sales increases in China, indicating a robust bilateral economic relationship. In 2024, China's GDP grew by 5%, driven largely by domestic demand, which accounted for nearly 70% of the growth, underscoring the importance of internal consumption as a stabilizing force amid external challenges. Xi's assertions come at a time when global trading conditions are evolving, particularly with the ongoing US-China trade tensions. The ambassador emphasized China's commitment to expanding trade partnerships, stating, "We are committed to opening more doors, building more bridges, and fostering closer ties with the world." With China now a significant trading partner to over 150 countries, the implications of its growth strategy are felt globally. The Belt and Road Initiative, he noted, has enhanced economic collaboration and improved living standards in numerous nations. However, the backdrop of Xi's optimistic narrative contrasts sharply with the complexities of US-China relations under the current US administration. Former President Donald Trump, now in a second term, is expected to adopt a hawkish stance towards China that may complicate any potential trade negotiations. Analysts suggest that the new cabinet, filled with loyalists advocating for aggressive trade policies, might prompt Trump to prioritize confrontational tactics over cooperative agreements. This cabinet includes figures like Howard Lutnick, who supports comprehensive tariffs, and Scott Bessent, who emphasizes the need for stringent screening of Chinese technology. The current economic landscape also reflects China's reliance on its older growth models of investment and exports, leading some experts to warn of a potential Japanification scenario, where economic stagnation becomes a risk. As China grapples with high debt levels and sluggish domestic consumption, the pressure to maintain growth could lead to further tensions with the US as both nations navigate their competitive interests. The evolving dynamic is not without its strategic challenges. The US continues to pressure China for structural reforms, while China seeks to bolster its self-sufficiency and technological advancement. The apprehension surrounding these developments is palpable, with observers noting that the likelihood of achieving a long-term strategic understanding between the two powers remains uncertain. As Ambassador Xi articulates China's position of steadfastness amid global volatility, the reality is that both nations are at a crossroads, with their choices poised to shape not only bilateral relations but also the future of global commerce. Looking forward, the path of US-China relations will be crucial to watch. The interplay between diplomatic negotiations and economic strategies will undoubtedly influence global trade dynamics as both nations attempt to assert their interests in an increasingly competitive landscape. As the world watches, the question remains whether collaboration or confrontation will define the next chapter in this intricate relationship. In recent weeks, geopolitical tensions in the South China Sea have intensified, drawing global attention to the evolving military dynamics in the region. A series of confrontations involving Chinese forces and their neighbors, particularly the Philippines, have raised questions about China's military ambitions and the potential for conflict in one of the world's most strategically significant waterways. On February 18, 2025, a Chinese naval helicopter provocatively flew within 10 feet of a Philippine patrol plane during a routine reconnaissance mission over the disputed Scarborough Shoal. This tense encounter, which lasted around 30 minutes, was witnessed by journalists on board the Philippine Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Cessna Caravan turboprop. The Philippine pilot issued multiple warnings to the Chinese helicopter, emphasizing the dangers posed by its proximity and asserting that it violated international safety standards set forth by the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration and the International Civil Aviation Organization. "You are flying too close, you are very dangerous and endangering the lives of our crew and passengers," the pilot radioed, indicating the high stakes involved in these encounters. The Scarborough Shoal, a small group of rocks and reefs located in the South China Sea, has been a focal point of contention between China and the Philippines for years. China claims it as part of its territory, referring to it as Huangyan Island, while the Philippines maintains its sovereignty over the area as part of its West Philippine Sea. In a statement, the Philippine Coast Guard reaffirmed its commitment to asserting sovereignty in the face of what it described as China's aggressive actions. The Chinese military, however, accused the Philippine plane of illegally entering its airspace, further complicating the situation. This recent incident is part of a broader pattern of escalating tensions in the South China Sea, where confrontations between Chinese and Philippine forces have become increasingly frequent. Analysts note that while the primary flashpoint for potential U.S.-China military conflict may center around Taiwan, the Philippines-China standoff also poses significant risks, particularly given the U.S. Mutual Defense Treaty with the Philippines. The U.S. has pledged to defend Filipino forces against armed attacks, which raises the stakes for any military engagement in the region. China's military buildup has been a source of concern not just for its neighbors but also for the international community. A high-profile report published by CNN questions whether the Chinese military is genuinely prepared for war, suggesting that the rapid arms buildup may not translate into effective military readiness. This raises crucial questions about the true intentions behind China's military expansion and its implications for regional stability. Amidst these tensions, the Philippines is bolstering its defense capabilities, recently announcing plans to acquire the Typhoon missile system from the U.S. This move has drawn warnings from China, which has characterized it as a precursor to an arms race in the region. The Philippine government under President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is also actively seeking to strengthen security alliances with other nations, including Japan, Australia, and members of the European Union, to counterbalance China's increasing assertiveness. The historical context of the Philippines-China dispute is essential to understanding the current dynamics. The Philippines brought its territorial claims before an international arbitration panel in 2016, which ruled in its favor and invalidated China's expansive claims in the South China Sea. However, China has steadfastly rejected this ruling, continuing its militarization of the area and asserting its claims through various means, including naval deployments and aggressive air patrols. As these geopolitical tensions unfold, attention is also turning to the broader implications for U.S. interests in the region. With the U.S. military presence concentrated in areas like Okinawa, Japan, local sentiments are mixed. Some Okinawans see the U.S. bases as a necessary deterrent against potential threats from China, while others view them as remnants of colonialism and a source of ongoing strife. This ambivalence highlights the complexity of regional security dynamics and the need for diplomatic solutions that can address the concerns of all parties involved. Looking ahead, the situation in the South China Sea is likely to remain volatile. The interplay between military posturing, territorial claims, and international alliances will continue to shape the geopolitical landscape. As both China and the Philippines navigate this intricate web of interests, the potential for conflict looms large, making it imperative for all stakeholders to engage in dialogue and seek peaceful resolutions to the disputes that have long plagued this critical region.